refuse to lose. I'm built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And I know what I told y'all, Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember which day, but I said my next show will be on Sunday. But I woke up this morning, I said, man, I kind of want to talk some college basketball this morning. So got up, went to the gym, and now I'm here. So we're going to talk a little college basketball. It's nothing, no structure to it. I just woke up and wanted to talk some college. So without further ado, we want to dive right into it. And the thing I'm going to start off with, we're going to start off with some shout outs for teams that's automatically qualified into the big dance. So we're going to say the teams, even though I have shorts about most of them. So check those out still. But I'm going to restate everybody that's automatically qualified for the dance. And we're going to start with LIU. LIU is qualified by winning the NEC tournament championship. I mean, they were qualified even by being in the NEC tournament championship just by the whole transition rule with Mercy Hurst. They still have another year before they're eligible to make the big dance. So LIU was in regardless, but Coach Rod Strickland gets LIU in the big dance, and they haven't been since 2018, which is then their last appearance. So shout out to them. Next, we have Tennessee State under Coach Nolan Smith. Again, they haven't been since 1994, 1995. So this is a big achievement for Tennessee State. They won both the Ohio Valley Conference Championship and the Ohio Valley Conference Tournament. Shout out to my brother, first of all, CTC with the basketball emoji. Appreciate you for tuning in. Shout out to Big V, South Philly 215. I feel slow butchering that, but Big V, South Philly 215. He says, hey, brother. He says, I love college basketball. Me too. That's why I randomly fired up the stream. Hopefully you like, comment, share, subscribe. But I love college basketball too. I can't wait you should stick around because we having a Selection Sunday show. There may be a guest on the show. I'm waiting on him to confirm again. But hey, man, this is going to be my third annual Selection Sunday show. And on the last two Selection Sunday shows I did, I've had upsets correctly predicted. And last year I had almost a perfect bracket through the whole first round. It was like the first 30, 20-something games. I had a perfect bracket. It was like the day and a half where I had a perfect bracket. I can't remember which game ruined it, but I think I only lost like one game through the first round last year. Now, I'm hoping to keep that up. That's tough footsteps to follow. But, yeah, tune in for sure. And appreciate you, man. I'm glad you found the channel, too. Appreciate you. Hopefully you stick around and like the content. But, yeah, shout out to Tennessee State, man, Nolan Smith. They made the dance for the first time in 30-plus years. Again, a native from the DMV. So definitely going to shout that out. Next, we have Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa hasn't made the dance since 2016, where they lost to Texas A&M in overtime, where they blew that big lead. That was West Washpunt and Paul Jesperson and the boys. I remember. I hated that. And I'm a big Caruso guy. I've been a Caruso guy since he's been at Texas A&M. And I think it was Caruso. I want to say it was Kyle Davis. I want to say it was Robert Williams was on that team, I think. And I want to say that Daniel House was on that team, but man, Texas A&M had that amazing comeback last time Northern Iowa was in the dance. But Northern Iowa did not win the Missouri Valley Conference Championship, but as a 6th seed, they did win the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament, and they're in the dance. Next, we have Queens University. Their first time eligible for the dance. They make it in their first time ever. They won the A-Sun, beating my pick to win the A-Sun, Central Arkansas. So shout out to Queens for winning that. Next, we have High Point. High Point won the Big South in dominant fashion yet again. They won last year in dominant fashion, won this year in dominant fashion. And High Point, for back-to-back years, winning the Big South, is going to the dance. So shout out to them. Next, we have North Dakota State. North Dakota State has not been dancing since 2019. They beat North Dakota to win both the Summit League Championship and the Summit League tournament. And so shout out to North Dakota State for that. Next, we have Furman, the Paladins of Furman. They beat was it ETSU? I believe they beat ETSU to make the dance. Yes, they did, to win the SoCon tournament championship. They did not win the SoCon regular season championship. That was ETSU. They were a 6th seed, but they won. They haven't been since 2023, which I believe that was the year they upset Virginia in the first round. So shout out the Paladins of Furman for their appearance back to the dance. Next, we have the Troy Trojans. The Troy Trojans win the Sun Belt back-to-back. Now, they ended Georgia Southern's Cinderella run of a Sun Belt tournament championship run. Georgia Southern won 5 games in 5 days to make the Sun Belt tournament championship, where they lost to the number 1 seed Troy Trojans. Troy won the Sun Belt championship and the Sun Belt Conference tournament championship. If you remember, they won the Sun Belt by 1 game, with there being a 6-way tie for second place in the Sun Belt. But shout out Troy for getting that job done. Next, we have Wright State. Wright State won both the Horizon League tournament and the Horizon League championship. Wright State beat Detroit Mercy. Which, shout out Detroit Mercy, man. 2 years ago, they only won like 1 game. The best thing Detroit Mercy had at one point was Antoine Davis falling 3 points shy of breaking the all-time record in points scored in college basketball history. And they were 1 game away, 1 blown lead away from turning it all around and making the dance. But unfortunately for them, Wright State came back and won the game. And Wright State makes it back to the tournament since 2022, when they had Grant Basile and Tanner Holden. Grant Basile later went to Virginia Tech. Tanner Holden went to Ohio State and then came back a year after Ohio State. But shout out to them for that. Next, we have Hofstra and Coach Speedy Claxton. Hofstra won the CAA conference tournament, did not win the championship. They beat Monmouth in the conference tournament to make the dance for the first time since 2001. So shout out Speedy Claxton for that. Next, we have Siena, my pick to win the MAAC conference tournament championship. They beat the number 1 seed in that conference tournament championship, Merrimack. Again, Coach McNamara got it done to make the dance. The first time they've made the dance since 2010. Like I said before in previous shows, this season was a lot of tournament. Not a lot of history in the season, just period. But now tournament history as well. You see a lot of teams breaking barriers that they haven't done in 10 plus, 15 plus years. And we'll double back to Coach McNamara later on in the episode. But next, we have Gonzaga, a WCC powerhouse. They shared a title with St. Mary's for the WCC, won their last tournament that they'll be a part of in the WCC. Next year, they go to the Pac-12. So shout out to Gonzaga for that. They actually beat Santa Clara, because Santa Clara beat St. Mary's. I wanted St. Mary's in that championship game. I had St. Mary's winning it all in the WCC, but they got upset by Santa Clara, and Gonzaga won the WCC. Shout out Mark Few for that. Got a couple more teams, and then I got a couple more topics. But McNeese, man. McNeese, 3 years straight, wins the Southland tournament. Shout out Javon Garcia, man. Had a hot start in that Southland tournament championship. Started off at one point, scored 21 points, had outscored Stephen F. Austin by himself at one point, was 7 for 7 from the field at one point, making tough shots, and blew the game open. That defense that McNeese has is a problem. It's going to be a problem for whoever they draw in the tournament. So shout out to them for winning the Southland 3 years straight and making the dance. Next, we have Lehigh. Lehigh has won the Patriot League, beating Boston University. Boston University beat my pick, Navy, at the buzzer. Some controversy in that game. The clock did start late, but Lehigh makes the tournament for the first time since 2012, where they beat Duke. If y'all remember, as a 15 seed, Duke was a 2 seed. I would love to see Lehigh and Duke match up in the tournament just for, nostalgia purposes. I think Duke runs them off the floor this year, but I would love to see it. And the last team with an automatic qualifier is Idaho. The Vandals of Idaho. They make the dance, winning the Big Sky and making the dance for the first time since 1990. They beat Montana in the Big Sky. Idaho did not win the Big Sky. Idaho was the 7th seed in the Big Sky tournament, and they made a run, and now they are in the dance as the winners of this Big Sky. Like I said, making the dance since 1990. So those are all your automatic qualifiers so far for the dance. I believe we don't have any automatic qualifiers today. I know we have some tomorrow. But for today, I don't think we have any. We have some semifinal games. We got the ACC semifinals today. We have the American League semifinals today. I want to say we have the SEC and the Big 12 semifinals. No, the SEC's quarterfinals. The Big 12 is in the I'm trying to find the Big semifinals as well. The Big East semifinals, the MEAC semifinals. So we got a lot of semifinals, no actual championships today. So no more qualifiers today. But we'll move on. We also currently got matchup. George Washington is currently up 25-13 over St. Louis with 8:52 left in the first half. George Washington is looking to be a potential bid steal. If they beat St. Louis, who's not my pick to win it. My pick is VCU. St. Louis has been playing bad of late. I don't know what it is to fix it, but they have been playing bad of late. So I went with VCU to win the A-10. But, man, that's a good game to watch. Upset alert there going on early, very early. But let's move on. I do want to talk about a coaching hire. K-State fired Jerome Tang middle of the season. Just things weren't working out at K-State. He had the magical run beating my Spartans in the Sweet 16 to make the Elite Eight with Marquise Norrell and Keontae Johnson. But that was the only good year K-State really had. Excuse me, I believe the next year with Tyler Perry, they made the NIT, but they couldn't get the success of Tank's first season at K-State. So they decided to move on, and they have hired Casey Alexander from Belmont to now take over the K-State Wildcats. And I think that's a solid hire. At K-State, you're not really asked to win the Big 12. You want to be competitive in the Big 12, and if you win the Big 12, that's a bonus for sure. Don't get me wrong. But with powers of Houston and Kansas and Iowa State and Arizona, you're not really expected to win the Big 12. So I think Casey Alexander could put together a roster to make them competitive in the Big 12, win some games. He went 166-60 with a conference record of 102-33 in both the Missouri Valley and Ohio Valley conferences at Belmont. He won 3 conference championships, at both at Belmont, 2 in the Ohio Valley, 1 in the Missouri Valley, and he won a conference tournament championship. But it was the COVID year, so he didn't get a chance to play in the tournament because the tournament got canceled. But I think it's a solid hire, man, and I think he'll get some guys. He even got a league guy out of Belmont, Ben Shepard, who's currently on the Pacers. So I think he'll get some guys to come play at K-State and buy in. And I expect them to be competitive. Maybe not his first year, but down the line. So I think that's a solid hire. Now, next, I wanted to get into the Syracuse opener because Syracuse fired their head coach, Adrian Autry. So Autry is now relieved. And I asked this question when I found out. And I'm going to ask it again on the pod. I never asked it on the pod. Is Coach Jerry McNamara, who played at Syracuse, who could potentially get donations, NIL from, let's say money, because NIL to me is just allowing kids to use their name, image, and likeness to make money. So maybe he can get donations, boosters, old alum to chip in bring more money to the program, and get better guys at Syracuse. Because not for nothing, Syracuse has lacked talent, elite talent, for quite some time. It's been a while since Syracuse had a guy. I mean, last time I could think of one, Michael Carter Williams. I think of CJ Fair. I think of Michael Benajay. I know they like Joe Girard. I think that was his name, the 3-point shooter that Coach Boeheim had. But Syracuse ain't been Syracuse for a long time. So McNamara, man, Melo's former teammate, was on that national championship team. Again, obviously an alumni of Syracuse. He just took Sienna to the dance for the first time since 2010. He got a guy in Gavin Doty, who's nice, 6'5" guard, can shoot, get to the basket. Is he at play for Syracuse after Sienna season's over? I would call and check in. Hey, man, you an alumni. We need a hire that's going to get the boosters, the fans riled up and excited. And I think Jerry McNamara would be exactly what Syracuse needs to try to become competitive again, because they're not really competitive in the ACC anymore. And I think McNamara can bring back the important guys of Syracuse. So I think Syracuse should make a move and go after McNamara. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. But I think that's a move they should make. Now we'll move on. I want to talk about a team. Man, they've been want to talk about on fire. Won 8 straight potential at-large bid play now. And it's the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma ended the regular season on a 6-game win streak. Oklahoma, now granted, this win ain't great, but it's still a win. They beat South Carolina. They beat Texas A&M badly last night. They're in the quarterfinals. They play Arkansas today. And Arkansas can be beat. I feel like, let me make sure if I do need to see if Acuff is playing, because Acuff did not play against Missouri. And I feel like DJ Wagner had a solid game. Man, hey, Billy Richmond was going crazy. Trevon Brazell went crazy. Arkansas still won the game. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, they're obviously better with Darius Acuff. But the way Oklahoma is playing, if Acuff is not playing, okay, he's expected to play today. But I was about to say, if Acuff not playing, Oklahoma could definitely pull that. I think Oklahoma, even with Acuff playing, could pull it off. They've won 8 straight. So Oklahoma's been playing really good basketball lately. They beat Mizzou. They beat Auburn, which Auburn, man, I'm glad Tennessee finally they stopped playing in the second half and got them out of there. I was scared for a second Auburn might actually beat Tennessee, and then people were going to find ways to put Auburn in the tournament. I needed Auburn to lose because I don't think Auburn deserves to be in the tournament, man. They played bad down the stretch of the season. They're just not, to me, a good team. So I didn't want them. And plus Miami of Ohio, which we'll talk about later, blew it first round against UMass. So I really needed them to lose. But Oklahoma won the Red River rivalry against Texas. Beat Mizzou. They beat LSU. That's not a good one. LSU sucks. They beat Auburn. So they won 8 straight. Now, the quality of some of the 8 ain't good, but still, they handled business, won 8 straight, and they are now potential at-large bid. So Joe Lunardi, currently has them as the top of the first 4 out. A win here could put them in. I think they should take out Texas if they do win. SMU played that bad down the stretch too. SMU might be out too. But Oklahoma, I think even if Oklahoma is close in this matchup and lose like by a possession or 2, it might put them in. But next, I'm going to talk about Ohio State. Ohio State they're currently playing Michigan. That game should have tipped off by now. Let's double check. Yeah, so Ohio State's currently down 7-0 to Michigan. Man, I hate how good Michigan is, man. I really do. But they're currently down 7-0 to Michigan, but I don't think this game matters for Ohio State in terms of getting in the tournament. I think with Ohio State beating Iowa yesterday, I think with Ohio State beating Indiana to end the season, I think Ohio State has safely put themselves in the tournament, which I'm happy for guys like Bruce Thornton. I'm happy for guys like John Mobley, who deserve to showcase their talents in the tournament. Now, ultimately, you're not just going to give it to them, right? They earned it. But still, I'm happy for those 2 guards, even though Mobley's a sophomore. Hold on, what? Wow. Why do I feel like Mobley been playing long? He's only a sophomore. But anyway, definitely happy for Bruce Thornton, 4-year player at Ohio State. Now we'll be in the dance. And I want the world to see Amari Bynum. I really like Amari Bynum. Freshman for Ohio State. I think he could go in the draft this year. I love his athleticism, his tenacity, the way he plays the game. I love Amari Bynum. So I'm happy. And I'm not even an Ohio State fan. I don't like Ohio State. But I'm happy these guys should be in the tournament and showcase their talents. Next, we're going to talk about Miami of Ohio, man. I've been a fan of Miami of Ohio since last year. Since I watched the game against App State last season, early in the year. I think it was the Sun Belt MAC Challenge. And Miami of Ohio won that game as like 7.5-point dogs. And I kind of followed them throughout. And they were this close for making the big dance last season, but they blew a huge lead to Akron, like literally at the buzzer. And Akron made it in. And that was my tournament pick. But I was still sad for Miami of Ohio. Then they start off 31-0. Now, granted, they played with a ton of fire throughout the year. I remember like the Buffalo game. I think the Kent State game, they like had a miraculous win. But they finally got burned yesterday in their first game in the quarterfinals of the MAC tournament. But Joe Lunardi has them as the last 4 buys as the last line. So, again, I asked this question probably a month ago when they were like 23-0. Will the MAC be a 2-bid league for the first time since 1999? Funny enough, it was with Miami of Ohio. At the time, I said no because I don't trust the committee. And still, I don't trust the committee. But seeing this from Joe Lunardi does give me hope because I do feel like people love brands over sports. So I do feel like if it's close, and my fault. Let me say this real quick. I understand their strength of schedule was bad, but what you have to understand is they're a mid-major. People have to buy them to play. People were scared to buy them because they were scared to lose to them. So they had to scramble and put together a terrible schedule so they can play games. Travis Steele came out and said, we contacted these D1 schools. We contacted teams to play us. They ducked us. How can you blame Miami of Ohio for people ducking them? So I feel like that's the context left out of their strength of schedule. It's like, yeah, you look at their strength of schedule, their non-conference schedule, it was 362 or 365. But it wasn't from lack of trying, it was from ducking. It's from ducking. People were ducking them. So I think they should be in. Going 31-0 is impressive, no matter how you slice it. Because if it's so easy, they wouldn't have been the third team in like 30-some years to do it. It would happen every single season because the MAC ain't just become the MAC now. I mean, all these other mid-majors, nobody's done it for real. This is the first time a MAC school has ever finished undefeated. So why are we saying it's so easy now? We saw Auburn go into overtime against Bethune-Cookman, who's a SWAC team who just lost yesterday in their tournament. They're not making a dance. So I don't get it, but we'll move on. I do want to say, I'm going to make this short. Liberty, you disappointed me. You had 3 guys on that team last year. I know you didn't have Talon Peter, but you had Matheny. You had Colin Porter, and you had Zach Cleveland, all on the team last year. And you lose to Missouri State, your first game in the Conference USA tournament. I was severely disappointed. I was looking forward to watching Liberty play in the dance, but obviously they won't be in the dance, and it's through no fault of their own. They sputtered through the last couple games of the season. I thought maybe they were sputtering because the Conference USA the Conference USA Championship, that was in reach. They had like 5. They were up 5 games with 5 games left. And I mean, if push come to shove, they had a Conference USA tournament. I mean, Conference USA Championship game against Sam Houston 4-all if they lost out and Sam Houston won out leading up to that game. So I'm like, all right, they're sputtering. They're probably losing a little focus, but the tournament's here. They'll refocus. They'll get back to their dominant ways. They'll win out. Nope, lost first game. So very disappointed in Liberty there. Next, there was a scandal that came out of nowhere in the Western Athletic Conference. Utah Valley just out of nowhere was at risk of not even being able to participate in the Western Athletic Conference. Apparently, they had to pay like $1 million. Oh, I'm going to just say allegedly. They had to pay like $1 million because allegedly they're going to leave the WAC after this year. And in order to participate in the tournament, they had to pay the money, and they hadn't done so. And they had up until, I believe, Tuesday at 7 to get it done. And I guess they came to an agreement that the money will be paid. And so they are allowed to participate in the tournament, or else they wouldn't have been allowed, and they would have to re-rock the tournament to not include Utah Valley. But everything got handled, and Utah Valley is in a tournament, and they have a chance to make the dance. Next, we got 2 potential bid steals. The first one, Georgetown. They upset Villanova. Now, I do think that Villanova is going to be bothered by the Matt Hodge injury. He's out for the year. I think that severely affects Villanova. But Georgetown upset Villanova and made the conference tournament, the Big East Conference tournament semifinals. They played Georgetown tonight. I mean, I said they played Georgetown. Jesus, they played UConn tonight. Excuse me. And not for nothing, I do think UConn is much better than Georgetown, but I think UConn is better than Marquette. And UConn lost to Marquette on senior night in Marquette. So I just don't think this UConn team is as dominant, as Coach Hurley has had in the past. So I'm not 100% confident in UConn in any game, to be honest. So I'm not saying Georgetown will win. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, if Georgetown miraculously pulls this off, I wouldn't be surprised. So they're a potential bid steal. Now, granted, they will have to play the winner of St. John and Seton Hall, which I think they could beat Seton Hall if they play St. John as a wrap. And I picked St. John's to win the Big East. But that's a potential bid steal. They can only be a bid steal, though, if they win the tournament. They can't. There's no way they get in without winning the tournament. And the last potential bid steal is San Diego State. They are in the semifinals today. They take on New Mexico, neutral site, obviously, win the Mountain West Conference tournament. And then they would play, if they win, they would play the winner of Utah State and Nevada, which they've beaten Utah State in the past. They've beaten New Mexico. So San Diego State right now under Joe Lunardi is the last team in the first 4 out. So this is a potential bid steal for sure. And San Diego State has the team to do so. Like, if San Diego State wins these next 2 games, I'm not surprised. They have a really good defense. They have the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Miles Byrd. They have Bucket and Reese Dixon Waters. They have bigs and Magoon Guaf and Heidi. So they have a team, and they play really good defense. Now, to me, their problem sometimes it couldn't be scoring, but they have a really good defensive team, and they're always competitive in the Mountain West. And I can see them winning both of these games to be a bid steal. So don't be surprised. Now, it would suck for teams like Miami of Ohio. It would suck for teams like Oklahoma. It would definitely suck because now one of those teams is out. But it's a potential bid steal, so it's something to look out for. Oh, what did I just do? I don't know. But anyway, shout out to Zaylin Johnson, P4V. He says, W, appreciate you. Hopefully you like, comment, share, subscribe. Definitely appreciate that. I thought I just got some Raven news. I didn't. Anyway, so those are the things I wanted to talk about today. My Michigan State Spartans obviously play UCLA tonight at 9 o'clock in Chicago in the Big Ten tournament. Please get it done. Get it done, man. I'm not trying to lose our first game in the Big Ten tournament. Last time we played UCLA, we won by 30. I mean, I don't expect us to do that again. I mean, that was at home at the Braves. It was a long trip for them to make, so I'm not expecting that. But I get it done. I was low-key, like, I said this on the Refuse to Lose main show. Make sure you check them out. Like, dog, I'm tired of these tight games with Rutgers because we'd have played the winner of Rutgers and UCLA. Now, the game at Rutgers, we shouldn't have won that game. We had no business coming back and winning that game, but we got it done. And then the game at Michigan State on senior night, Izzo tried to, he tried to get his senior some burn. Rutgers wouldn't quit. They started pressing. They came back. They started making every shot. Came back and got it. They almost came back and forced OT, but like Izzo put the starters back in. It was still going bad, but luckily we did enough to escape. Ended up winning, I think, by 4. But please, beat UCLA today. I'm not trying to lose the first game in the Big Ten Conference tournament. So that's what I wanted to say as well. Hopefully y'all enjoy the games tonight or today, because I will. We got college basketball all day. I want to say this too. I'm so disappointed in UC San Diego how the season started and how the season ended. They looked like a wagon to start the season, winning undefeated. Now, they did lose their first game in Nevada, but Nevada's a good Mountain West Conference team. Again, they're in the Mountain West Conference semis. But, man, they sputtered in the Big West, like, badly, dropping games you wouldn't expect them to drop. couldn't trust them to hold leads. I was so surprised, man. I've watched UC San Diego for some time. I was happy they made the dance last year. I was hoping they beat Michigan last year. They did not, but they didn't. But man, I was disappointed in UC San Diego for sure. And I also want to shout out the Miami Hurricanes. What a turnaround they had. And I want to give this coach some love, Coach Jay Lucas for Miami. Man, he's done an incredible job at Miami, bringing in guys like Malik Renal, Trey Donaldson, freshman Shelton Henderson, Ernest Udo. Miami, man, that's a scary team. This is a team I wouldn't want to play for real. So shout out to the Jay Lucas in Miami turning it around, because last year Miami was trash. But now they're in the dance. They're in the ACC semifinals. They take on Virginia today. Did that game tip off already? No, that game is at why is it so late? It's at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock tonight. So that's a game to watch. But man, I do want to shout out Jay Lucas for a season well done by him. I want to say Miami finished third in the ACC behind Virginia, because Duke was first. I want to say Virginia was second. Yeah, they were third behind Virginia. And last year in the ACC, they were towards the bottom. They were at the bottom, actually. Not even towards. They were at the bottom. They were 3-17 in conference, 7-24 in the season. So what a turnaround for Jay Lucas. Now, it's unfortunate that Duke was so dominant, only having one ACC loss to North Carolina, which they shouldn't have lost that game, but Seth Trimble hit a 3 at the buzzer. Because if it wasn't for him being so dominant, only losing one game, Jay Lucas probably would have won ACC Coach of the Year. But you can't not award dominance just because it's at Duke. So I completely understand why John Shire won ACC Coach of the Year. For sure. Completely understand. And shout out Coach for Seton Hall, Shaheen Holloway. He won Big East Coach of the Year. Now, I was super surprised he won it, but I love Coach Shaheen Holloway. Take nothing away from the guy. I literally told my man J-Mo, like, I want Seton Hall to do well so he can stay at Seton Hall and coach there for however long he wants to. That's his alma mater. I was happy when he left St. Peter's to go coach at Seton Hall because he got the job. I want him to coach there for, again, however long he wants. But I thought Kevin Willard or Rick Pitino should have won Big East Coach of the Year. So, again, salute to Shaheen Holloway. Love what he's done. Love him as a coach. But I really thought Kevin Willard should have won Coach of the Year at Villanova, if we're being honest. Villanova has been terrible under Cal Neptune. I told people in our group chats, Villanova needs to realize if they ever want to be good again, they have to let Cal Neptune go. And they let him go for Kevin Willard. And again, kind of crazy how Kevin Willard left Maryland. He literally negotiated the deal while his team was in the tournament. And immediately after they lost, he left and took the Villanova job. I get that. But he turned them around. They were third in the Big East. Again, I think the Hodge injury was big, but they went from, I want to say they were like middle of the pack to bottom. They were middle of the pack, 11-9 in the Big East, 21-15 overall, to third in the Big East this year. They were 15-5 and 24-8. So I thought Kevin Willard should have won it. But again, congrats to Shaheen Holloway on the award. But please, again, if you're listening, if you're watching, appreciate you for listening and watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, helps the network. I just wanted to get on here and talk some college basketball. Like I said, I felt in the mood to talk about it. So fired up the stream and let's talk some college basketball. But I'm about to go ahead and start watching some of these games. George Washington is still up on St. Louis. They're actually up 15 with 1:56 left in the first half. Ohio State's down 7, 11-18, 11:58 left in the first half on Big Ten Network. We got some Conference USA about to tip off in about 7 minutes. Florida, Kentucky at 1 o'clock. So games all day. But got to do some house cleaning. We have shows on the network. We got the main show, which I mentioned earlier, every Monday and Thursday between 7 and 8:30. Last episode last night went to about 9 o'clock. That's featuring Joe, AJ. Joe, Dave, and Tomo. Might as well throw me in the mix too. I'm dagging on every other episode, but that's the main three of the main show. Again, Mondays and Thursdays between 7 and 8:30. Then we got Unfazed, who went live last night. That's Joe and AJ. So they went live at 9:45 last night, 8:45 Central Time. AJ is Central Time Zone. They talked about both NBA and NFL. talked about the BAM 83. They talked about a little free agency talk, who won free agency, stuff like that. So make sure you check them out. They don't have a set schedule, so just catch them when you can. We got BWT Baseball with Teddy. World Baseball Classic is now entered the quarterfinals. America did make the quarterfinals, but I told y'all, man, I'm rooting for America. Obviously, I'm American, obviously. But I'm part Japanese because y'all know my guy, Shohei Ohtani. So I'm not literally part Japanese, but I'm a huge Ohtani fan. So I'm not rooting for Japan to win it. I'm just rooting for my dog to succeed. But we do have the World Baseball Classic entering the the quarterfinals. And actually tonight, Korea plays the DR. United States plays Canada tonight. So make sure y'all tune in to Teddy for that. We got FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Obviously, the NFL season is over. Football season is over. UFL about to start. But fantasy football is obviously over. But be on the lookout for whatever content he's dropped. We're in the midst of free agency. We got the draft next month. I do also do a draft show on the first round. This will be my third year doing that as well. So make sure y'all tune into that. But we have the draft coming up. So make sure you tune in to FFC for whatever content he has there. Next, we have RBO, Real Ballers Only, NBA show featuring Vaughn. He said he's going live tonight. I don't know. Oh, he said he's going over. I do know. I lied to y'all. He's going over the Spurs Nuggets. They played last night with no Wemby. I didn't know Wemby wasn't playing, but the Nuggets won. But going over Spurs Nuggets, may go over something else tonight. But RBO, that's featuring Vaughn. My Pistons won last night, beat the Sixers, although the Sixers are battered right now. As a Pistons fan, I take any W I can get right now. But yeah, and then we have Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sports, so make sure you check him out. We have In the Red Corner, boxing episode. They go live on Sundays, not every Sunday, but when they do go live, it's Sundays Sundays around 6:30, and that's Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. For all your boxing needs, man, check out In the Red Corner. Great boxing show. Next, we have we have Zero Sports Talk with Griffey. Again, new show, so I don't know the logistics, but just be on the lookout for when he drops. I don't think he goes live. I think he drops pre-recorded episodes, but again, just be on the lookout for when he drops. But then like, comment, share, subscribe to those shows as well. Again, helps the channel, helps the network. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. But with that being said, I'm probably about to go make me some food. I'm hungry. Like I said, just came from the gym. Make me some food, watch these games, but I'm gone. And we will see you Selection Sunday, whether it's by myself like last year or whether I got my guy coming on to, talk these college basketball brackets. We will be here Selection Sunday at the same time as Selection Sunday. It will be on my phone on mute, and I will discuss brackets, potential upsets, potential Final Fours, potential dark horses, all that. If you want a preview, you can go on my channel, look at the last Selection Sunday show I did. It's still up there. But yeah, can't wait. I would love to do an NIT show, but I don't think they do that anymore. But I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.